Hey everyone, Richard Gibbens, Executive Director for SWMLS, and today I want to talk a little bit about what is RESO and why are we changing so many fields. So over the course of 2024, we have roughly about 75 field changes that are going to happen. And a lot of them make a lot of sense. A lot of them actually are providing more information in most cases, but some of them are going to be different. And I understand that realtors aren't always a fan of different, although being a member of Southwest MLS, you might have gotten used to it at this point. But I want to point you to a couple different resources. I want to talk about what RESO is and let you know what we're doing to ease this transition for you. So I want to start off by first talking a little bit about what is RESO. So RESO is the Real Estate Standards Organization, and why RESO is important. So in any given MLS, you have a couple hundred fields, and if you are a tech company that is trying to move into the real estate space, you have over 500 MLSs across the country that you are trying to organize the information with. And I want you guys to think about something as simple as a back porch, and think about how every area calls it something a little different. Like you might be called a lanai or a back porch or a screened porch, or everybody calls it something a little different. And the point of the Real Estate Standards Organization is to try to standardize that nationwide to make the data easier to deal with. Now, why is that important? For people, if you've ever gone to a conference, you've ever gone to an NAR, gone to an Inman, gone to any of these conferences that are focused on the realtor, you notice there's a lot of vendors there, and a lot of these vendors are trying to sell new innovative products, and they're trying to innovate in the space and do new things. And many people that have been to these conferences will ask them, hey, are you doing business in the state of New Mexico? And the answer is often no. And the reason the answer is no is that in any business you have you got to turn a profit, right? And development costs money. And if you are trying to connect to an MLS that every single field is something different and it's not to the national standard, that costs them money. And quite frankly, the state of New Mexico only has about 7,000 realtors in it. There's MLSs in states where the single MLS has more members than that. So frankly, for a innovative company trying to enter the space, the development cost is just not worth the addressable market that they're going to have of realtors who would be able to utilize that data. So by making our data more standardized, it makes it where they've probably already built that same thing for somebody else. So the theory is they'd be able to flip a switch and then their data can be turned on. So by making our data easier to work with, we're actually inviting more innovation and competition and technology forward products into our state and our MLS. Another part of this is RESO standards up to this point, and up to Data Dictionary version 1.7. Think about on Flex MLS, you have the details tab, and that's the one where you have all the checkboxes, right? So the RESO standards would double check the field name, but it would not check all of the checkboxes. Starting with Data Dictionary 2.0, which is beginning its certification at the end of 2024, they're going to be checking for those enumerations as well. So this is what's called a breaking change in the industry, and it's going to take a lot of work. And that's work that the board of directors and the policy committee is going through, looking at all of these fields and seeing what we need to do to bring our data in line with that RESO data standard. So that is why we have so many of these field changes happening over the next year. Now, one final question I want to talk about with RESO is you don't lose that local flavor. So the example I always like to use for us is water source. And what I'm going to bring up here for you is in the data dictionary, what RESO has for the data source or for water source, and you're going to notice that the options they have are pretty limited compared to what we have. So let me pull this back up. So under water source here, if I hit expand items of interest, The only things they have for water source nationwide is cistern, none, other, private, public, seed remarks, shared well, spring, and well. So the rule with RESO is if RESO does it and you do it, you have to do it the RESO way. But you'll notice in water source, we have a lot more than this. We have things like haul water area or drill well area or community. So we have all these other options that are specific and local to our area, and it is 100% okay to keep those local things. The only difference is that, like, for example, private or public, if we use something like that, we have to make it match what RESO does. But you'll see that if you're ever looking at the data dictionary, which you can do, it's ddwiki.reso.org, you can come up here, it'll say open with enumerations, which means that we can add as many things of this as we want. So you're going to notice when these changes happen, some things, the names are going to change. Like I believe for public, we call it something like city water right now, but that needs to change to public because that's what the RESO option is. However, those additional options like water haul area, community water, things that are specific to our area are also going to remain. So just because we're moving to a RESO data standard does not mean we have to lose that local flavor that is so important to our area. Again, using water source as an example, knowing where you get your water from in the middle of a desert is pretty important. Okay, so enough about RESO. I next want to talk about some of the resources that we're using to help make this transition easier for you. So if you go to SWMLS.com, at the top of the page, there's this new page now called Flex MLS Updates. And on that page, we've gone back and we went and we added all of the field changes that happened all throughout 2022 and 2023. We only went about halfway back in 22. And then for each one of these, every time that we made these changes, we've made a blog for you. So if you click on that link, you're going to see the blog that has the information about exactly what changed. And then we usually have these screenshots in here for you to show this is what the new fields are going to look like. So we've created this Flex MLS Updates page for you that's going to have these blogs. And there's already about 45 field changes that have been approved by the committee and board of directors process. And those are going to be available in a link that's right here, right below this video link once we get this updated. And then as we create blogs, we're going to have a link to it as well. So like the first one coming up January 3rd is that year built is going to become a required field. And then we're adding 2 new fields, year built source and year built details. And that's going to happen on January 3rd. And within the next week or so, we're going to have a blog here for you that's going to have more details. So as I plan these field changes out, I'm going to move them from the link that's going to be here to here with dates for you so you can see ahead of what's coming. So, of course, keep an eye open for the blogs. We're going to send those out. They're going to be in the passport. We're going to send them out as emails. We're going to have these blogs continually running for you. But if you want one single resource to go to see all the changes that are happening, you'll be able to do that here at this Flex MLS Updates link. So that's RESO. That's the changes we have going on, and that's the reasoning behind it, as well as some resources that you can use to help keep track of these changes that are going. So as much as possible, we're gonna group these things together and make these changes, and you'll see them happening in the MLS. There's a lot of really boring stuff you guys don't want to hear about that goes into how the dates are set, the order the things are done, and how they're grouped together. But just know that I am always keeping your best interest at heart as I go through that. Another thing I want to mention is when a field changes, you don't have to do anything. One of the considerations we have when we're making these changes is how many saved searches are using this field? How many subscriptions are using this field? Are there any incomplete listings that are using this field? And if any of those things are true, the data moves with it. So if we go in and we change a field's name, we also go into all of your saved searches, all of your subscriptions, and all of your incomplete listings to move that for you. So anything that you already have existing in the system, you're not going to have to do anything with. So do not worry about that. The only thing that'll happen is if you're entering a listing or you are searching for listings, there may be a little different name, And that's where, if you're searching for something, you're like, didn't it used to be called this? You can go check this Flex MLS updates page that I just showed you, and you can see, oh, okay, well, here it is. It changed from this to this. So that's the resources we have in place to try to make this transition easier for you. Of course, if you ever have any questions about it, we have support at SWMLS down here at the bottom, or 505-843-8833. And also, of course, always open to feedback, questions, concerns, and things like that as well. So if you see something on the list you don't like, let me know. My answer might be, I'm sorry, that's what RESO demands, so we have to do it. Or, if there are sometimes some other ways to work through things as well. So, one more time, support at swmls.com down at the bottom, 505-843-8833. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day.